Hey, all cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile is here, and it is day 2 of Oscar Rewind 2024 edition. This is my bi weekly series of videos where I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar winners and nominees. My hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something that you haven't seen in a while. I'll be discussing the film's award history, its box office takes, its critical ratings, and as always, these reviews will be spoiler free. So, today I am chatting about Fox Searchlight Pictures' Sideways. Co written by the film's director Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor, Sideways adapts the novel of the same name by Rex Pickett. This film marked the first collaboration between two-time Oscar nominee Paul Giamatti, nominated this year for The Holdovers, and two-time out of 7 nominations Oscar winner Alexander Payne. Now, while he wasn't nominated this year, The Holdovers was also a Best Picture nominee. So, Sideways was released in the fall of 2004, almost 20 years ago, and it was a box office success as per Box Office Mojo. This little indie film with a budget of 16 million made 71,503,593 dollars domestically and 38,203,338 dollars internationally for a grand total of 109,706,931 dollars. Now, review wise, the film, as per Rotten Tomatoes, has a 97% critical rating and a 79% audience rating. Personally, I feel that audience rating is a little bit low, but that said, this film does have a target audience, and I will get into that in a moment. So, Sideways, Payne's fifth feature film, and I am including the 49-minute The Passion of Martin, as, in case anyone is curious, the Academy defines a full length film of any movie that is over 40 minutes. So, Sideways is his fifth. And as per IMDb, Sideways had 123 award wins and 91 other nominations. Some of the highlights include 5 Oscar nominations: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Thomas Hayden Church, and Best Supporting Actress for Virginia Madsen. And the fifth, which was the film's sole win at the Oscars, was for Best Adapted Screenplay. Other highlights include its Best Picture, Writing, and Acting Ensemble wins at the Critics' Choice Awards. It won its sole BAFTA nomination in the Adapted Screenplay category. It had 7 Golden Globe nominations, winning 2, one for Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, and Best Screenplay. It was nominated for 6 awards at the Independent Spirit Awards, and it took all 6: Best Feature, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and for the performers. So it ends also, I'll end 7. I will end saying that it was also named one of the top films of 2004 by the National Board of Review. So, Sideways is a road trip comedy, but for adults. Primarily the story of Miles, played by Giamatti, a recent divorcee and wine aficionado. Miles is very unhappy in his life as a middle school English teacher trying to get his book published. And in a temporary break from his rut, Jack, an actor played by Hayden Church, his best friend, is getting married. Now, as Jack's best man, Miles has planned a road trip through the Santa Ynez wine country. A nice leisurely week of wine tasting, golfing, good meals, relaxation. Miles is excited. However, Jack, he's got some different plans. He plans to enjoy as much female companionship as he can before he ties the knot. So this will cause a little bit of friction between the friends, not to mention the involvement of 2 women. So, as they head off into this week, we meet 2 special women, friends, Maya, a waitress and student who is getting her master's degree, played by Madsen, and Stephanie, a winery employee, played by Sandra Oh. Miles and Maya, they are sweet on each other. They bond over their love of wine, and they have a history. There's been a long flirtation between them for a while now, but there's no direct interaction. Miles is a little self destructive, and Jack immediately falls for Stephanie. And while he did have some desires to just have some fun for the week, He actually begins to question upon meeting Stephanie whether or not his fiance is the right fit for him. And does he maybe need to make another decision? Now, through a series of events, we will follow these two couples and we will see how they interact, how they grow, and see how sometimes little white lies can have massive impacts on the relationships that we try to foster and maintain. Now, in addition to being a love story, the film is also a love letter to wine country. The Santa Ynez wine country could have easily been the fifth main character in this film. Feed on Papa Michael's cinematography is gorgeous. And I won't lie, a little side note. I recently, about 2 years ago, did a sideways tour where I visited every winery and restaurant that was featured in the film. And seeing it in person and comparing it to the film, it looks exactly as Michael captures it in the film. So this film is a truly realistic look. It's not all Hollywood and beautified. It is as beautiful as it looks on the screen. Now, in addition to meeting its traditional road trip tropes, this story is also a unique coming of age story for men in their 30s. It's fascinating to visit coming of age in the generations that are not like little kids or teenagers because many people feel that once you hit a certain point in adulthood, you're set in life, and then curveball comes, and that's really what we get with Sideways. You could almost argue that Giamatti's Miles and Hayden Church's Jack are, in a sense, they're caught in some sense of arrested development. They haven't quite become the properly functioning adults they want to be, even though they believe they do, despite, being employed and having lives. And to see how these two men, come together and craft these characters, it's truly unique. And their chemistry, I mean, the chemistry between all four is great, but specifically between these two, it's very solid. You truly believe that they are the films that they need to be. And when you add in those really layered lived in performances of Sandra Oh and Virginia Madsen into the mix, you get a thoroughly enjoyable film. I mean, while Giamatti was focused on as the lead because Sideways is Miles's story, this film is more of an ensemble film. And as I stated, it does have its target audience, which could explain those slightly lower audience ratings in the 79%, because this is not a film geared for younger folks. It is again geared towards those in their late 20s, early 30s, and even more of an older demographic who will appreciate this story of love and friendship and bonding. Now, some may say that the film moves a little slow or sluggish at times because this is not a film that's necessarily driven by dramatics, it's driven by plot and conversation. But if you're willing to really sit back and see this snapshot of this week in the lives of these four, it's truly enjoyable to see. And additionally, without spoiling too much, the film actually builds to a slightly ambiguous ending that normally would annoy most film goers, even me, because I'm not big with the ambiguous film endings. I like to know where our characters end up, but I was okay not knowing how this one ended. So I'm going to leave it there. All in all, Sideways has a solid story, great director, strong cast, and makes for a thoroughly enjoyable watch. While I'm not sure I would define it as a comedy, I'm not sure how the Golden Globes defines half of the films that they define as comedies. I mean, May December this year, a comedy? Anyway, Sideways does have some comedic moments. Sideways is a wonderful 5-star film to be enjoyed. If you would like to watch this film, now there is no streaming information available. It's not streaming on any platforms, but it is available for digital rental or purchase on most platforms. So, there we have it. See you again in a few days. Slight change in case some of you were looking for this yesterday. I said that these would come Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've decided to space them out a bit, so they're going to be coming out every Tuesday and Friday. That way, maybe the film that I suggest Friday gives you something to look at over the weekend. As always, if you like what you heard here, please subscribe to the channel, spread the word, get your friends to click and subscribe. We are just getting started with all of the extra cinematic goodness. Let me know how you feel about this film in the comments. You never know. I may reach out to you and have one of you, my loyal followers. You may get to choose the film that I critique in this season. Hey, I might even invite you to come along and review it with me. You can follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Let's talk films. It's going to be great. Happy watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.